the new operating system for the iPhone and the iPad. So it's important that they show that it is really secure.
Some tech experts believe the hacking reveals weaknesses in Apple's security measures. Longtime Apple fan Skip Jennings says the attack on celebrity accounts makes him think twice about using cloud-based storage systems.
I don't put things on my phone that I don't want people to see because of the cloud.
Security experts say it's ultimately up to consumers to create stronger passwords and be selective with what they store online. David Begnaud for CBS News, Pasadena, California.
Well, let's hope Apple steps up its security, but it is a good reminder to, make a hard password so no one can figure it out.
Yeah, that we all have to do our part. All right, that'll do it for CBS 4 News this morning at 5.
6 starts now. Next at 6, remembering Steven Sotloff. Family and friends celebrate the life of the man brutally murdered by ISIS terrorists. CBS 4 News exclusive. A BSO deputy remains in jail this morning accused of stealing prescription drugs from a dead man. This morning, the victim's fiance is talking only to CBS 4 News. Plus, department under fire. The plans from the U.S. Department of Justice to open an investigation into the Ferguson Police Department following the shooting death of an unarmed black teen. Good morning, South Florida. It is 6 a.m. on this Thursday, September 4th. I'm Rhiannon Alley.
And I'm Walter McCullough. Good Thursday morning to you. We got your traffic and your weather together. Vanessa Boyd is tracking the roadways, and it is wet out there.
Yeah, could be some problems on the roadways. Let's get to meteorologist Lisette Gonzalez and see where those showers are at now. Lisette.
All right, good morning, Walter, Rhiannon, and to all of you at home. Here we go. I warned you we've been for a wet end to the week and already seeing some showers out there. Look at the lightning from our Fort Lauderdale camera shot. We also have the raindrops just indicating what we're in store for today. Storms likely, some strong downpours possible, localized flooding, potential lightning, strong gusty winds, possibly up to 40 to 50 miles per hour. Some of the stronger storms that develop. Now, the bulk of the action has been in Broward County, and if you're headed up to Palm Beach County as well, heads up there. Lighthouse Point, Deerfield Beach, Pompano Beach, we're seeing those showers across your neighborhood, Parkland and Coral Springs, and also Tamarack. We're also dealing with moderate to heavy rain around Hollywood, Cooper City, Dania Beach, Hallandale Beach, and all of this action is pushing from the south and east to the north and west. Winds are fairly calm right now, but we will see that upper level low tracking our general direction. So stronger offshore winds in combination with all that moisture will lead to the potential for flooding. Upper 70s in Broward and Dade, low 80s through the Keys. Highs will be in the upper 80s this afternoon due to the clouds and the storms around. I'll have more on your forecast for tomorrow and the weekend ahead. Let's get a check of your traffic right now with Vanessa.
So it sounds like all that rain is for all of you waking up in Broward County, and so it's going to be a slick drive this morning. Take a look at I-95 at Griffin Road. We had some rain here earlier this morning, and that's why you're seeing some ponding out on the roadways. Drive cautiously. There's your northbound, southbound sides of I-95. Do have one accident you have to worry about, South Florida. It's in Miami-Dade on I-95, southbound at Miami Gardens Drive, a hit-and-run crash. You're going to see the left lane is blocked off. Stick to that right-hand side. That accident is from about 20 minutes ago, so those delays have been stacking for a bit, so watch out there. Then back in Broward County on I-95 northbound at Cypress Creek Road, we're getting word of debris out on the roadway. The center lane is blocked off, hopefully clearing that out of the way in the next few minutes. Just 11 minutes on 595 from I-75 over to I-95, and just 13 minutes on the Palmetto if you start off at the Golden Glades interchange, head westbound, then southbound to I-75, guys.
Steve was no hero. Like all of us, he was a mere man who tried to find good concealed in a world of darkness.
Now at 6, a family in mourning. Loved ones remember a murdered Miami journalist who wanted to help the world. Last night, the family of Steven Sotloff officially responded for the very first time to the barbaric beheading.
Loved ones are explaining why Sotloff chose to lead a life that put him in constant danger. And this morning, CBS 4 is bringing you team coverage of those remembering Sotloff. We want to start with CBS 4's Maribel Rodriguez. She is live outside the family's home in Pinecrest with more. Maribel.
Rhiannon, good morning. Steven's best friend spoke from his parents' home here in Pinecrest and said Steven would have liked to have lived a normal and tranquil life, maybe going to a Dolphins game on Sunday and reporting to work on Monday, but it was his passion for reporting what drew him to the Middle East.
Ever since Steve was abducted on August 4th, 2013 in Aleppo, his family has refrained from speaking about his incarceration.
A South Florida family's private pain.
We break that silence to share Steve's story.
Is now known all over the world. after video emerged showing the beheading of American journalist Steven Sotloff at the hands of Islamic extremists. His loved ones in Pinecrest are remembering him as a gentle and kind soul who wished to be a voice for those who had none.
Steve was no hero. Like all of us, he was a mere man who tried to find good concealed in a world of darkness. And if it did not exist, he tried to create it.
More than just a family spokesperson, Barak Barafi was also Sotloff's longtime friend, who at one point went to the Middle East in hopes of brokering his release.
I failed you, Boy Scout. I left you in the field to suffer your fate. I will carry this burden until I meet you, but I will never forget your kindness. Watch over me, Patroclus.
On Wednesday, President Obama condemned the killing. He's ordered an additional 350 U.S. troops to Baghdad to protect U.S. personnel and facilities against ISIS terrorists.
We will not be intimidated. Their horrific acts only unite us as a country and stiffen our resolve to take the fight against these terrorists.
The United States will hold them accountable too, no matter how long it takes.
Today we grieve. This week we mourn. But we will emerge from this ordeal. Our village is strong. We will not allow our enemies to hold us hostage with the sole weapons they possess: fear.
And we also heard from another friend of Steven who said he was the type of journalist who did everything right. We're live in Pinecrest. Maribel Rodriguez, CBS 4 This Morning.
We continue our team coverage now with reaction from the Sotloff family's rabbi. Rabbi Terry Bookman of Temple Beth Am described Steven Sotloff as courageous and compassionate. Here's CBS 4's Gabby Fleischman with more.
With no chance to say goodbye and no body to bury, the family of murdered journalist Steven Sotloff turns to their faith for support. Rabbi Terry Bookman has stood by Shirley and Arthur Sotloff since their son was taken hostage last year and now shares in their pain.
He broke down and really wept in my arms, and I wept with him. So, and Shirley is, you know, she's like on the floor, you know, she just, it's overwhelming. It's still hard to believe that they won't see him grow up.
As a kid, Sotloff went to school at Temple Beth Am in Pinecrest, where his mom is a preschool teacher. Sotloff later moved to Israel to study and became an Israeli citizen who secretly practiced Jewish religion in captivity. While being held hostage, Sotloff's family had to conceal his connection to Israel and Judaism, erasing everything online that made mention of it.
Why add to his danger by letting people know that he's Jewish? We didn't want to create a Daniel Pearl kind of situation where when they knew Daniel was Jewish, they killed him for that reason alone.
Daniel Pearl was a journalist with dual American-Israeli citizenship, murdered by al-Qaeda back in 2002. This time, it's ISIS militants who executed Sotloff on video as so-called payback for U.S. airstrikes in Iraq. The 31-year-old journalist, described by friends as a sincere, dedicated man, risked his own life to report about the suffering in Syria with both humanity and truth.
Steven knew exactly what he was doing. Steven was a very, very brave guy. Steven was the soldier of peace. He went inside just to get the story, what's happening to the Syrian people. And he pretty much sacrificed his life.
Sotloff's friend, an Israeli and activist for the Syrian opposition, says he knows Israel won't rest until Sotloff's family gets some sense of closure.
The person behind the mask, I can guarantee him, the Israelis will not stop looking for him. And they will find him.
There is a memorial scheduled for this Friday at 1 o'clock at Temple Beth Am. The services are open to the public. From Pinecrest, Gabby Fleischman, CBS 4 This Morning.
And those close to Sotloff remember him as a fearless journalist. In 2012, he tweeted this video saying a Syrian jet hunted him outside the city of Aleppo. Almost a year later, we are told he had dinner with one of his friends, a filmmaker, Matthew Van Dyke, as Sotloff was about to return to Syria.
Apprehensive about going. The kidnappings had started around that time. ISIS had just appeared a few months before. He knew that each time he went back, it was getting more and more dangerous there. The only reason that we all know that Syria is dangerous is because of guys like Steven and James Foley that went and told us that. Otherwise, we would have no idea what's going on in Syria.
Sotloff vanished last August while on assignment. His reporting trips also took him to Libya, Egypt, Somalia, even Turkey. But he still found a way to keep up with his favorite team, the Miami Heat. Sotloff grew up the oldest of 2 children. As a teenager, he attended boarding school in New Hampshire, where he played rugby and football. He also found his passion while working on the student newspaper.
Stephen Sotloff studied journalism at the University of Central Florida. Last night, hundreds of people attended a candlelight vigil at the main campus in Orlando. They gathered around the reflection pond to mourn Sotloff's death.
I think Stephen personified the UCF creed, and to his last moments, he upheld his morals, ideals to the highest degree.
Sotloff attended UCF from 2002 to 2004. And be sure to stay with CBS4 News and CBSMiami.com for continuing coverage on the murder of Stephen Sotloff.
And this morning, the ISIS threat is grabbing part of the spotlight as world leaders gather in Wales for the start of the NATO summit. In a joint editorial today, the president and British Prime Minister David Cameron says they will not be intimidated by Islamic militants. Both leaders appear to suggest that the NATO alliance should play a role in containing the militants, but they did not specify exactly what that entails. Also on the summit's agenda is the West's response to Russia's invasion in Ukraine. Talks about potentially deeper economic sanctions against Russia are expected.
And new details this morning into the shooting death of an unarmed teenager in Ferguson, Missouri. The U.S. Department of Justice is expected to announce today that it plans to open an investigation into the practices of the Ferguson Police Department. The government will reportedly look back over the last few years into practices that include patterns of stops, arrests, use of force, and officer training. Michael Brown was shot at least 6 times last month by Officer Darren Wilson. That incident sparked violent demonstrations. There is already an ongoing federal investigation into that deadly shooting.
And the attorney for the woman accused of murdering her boyfriend, a City of Miami police officer, is arguing she should have the charge dropped under the Stand Your Ground defense. Taniko Thompson's lawyer filed the court motion, arguing Thompson was forced to defend herself against Officer Carl Patrick. The motion claims Patrick pulled a gun on Thompson in the home the two shared, threatened to shoot her, and then hit her several times. Police countered that Thompson shot Patrick, wrapped him in a comforter, and then left him to die. Thompson's attorney wants the case dismissed. He is requesting a hearing to decide the matter.
It is 6:11, and coming up, it's a CBS4 News exclusive.
A Broward sheriff's deputy is locked up in jail this morning for allegedly stealing drugs from a dead man. Coming up at 6:30, the victim's fiance is opening up and says why that deputy, she thinks, should be charged.
But first, the tragic end, how a man's plan to bike over 1,000 miles to propose to his girlfriend in Miami went horribly wrong.
And new details on a third American doctor infected with the Ebola virus. Coming up, his colleagues talk about his drive to help others.
Welcome back. It is 6:14 on this Thursday morning. And boy, is that already wet out there.
Yes, grab your umbrella as you're heading out the door. Those showers this morning, not what we want to see as kids are heading to the bus stop.
No, not at all. Miami-Dade County has been quiet, and Monroe County as well, but Broward County, they just can't get a break this morning. Really across all of South Florida, the storm chance will remain high today and tomorrow. But as we look live from our Fort Lauderdale camera, you can see the raindrops on the camera lens. We've been keeping an eye on some lightning as well. Mother Nature providing quite a show. Here are your weather headlines. Storms likely today. Some could be strong with the potential of downpours, localized flooding, lightning, gusty winds up to 40 to 50 miles per hour. Looking at the radar, the bulk of the activity, again, Broward County, but now we're starting to see some storms approaching the Keys as well. So let's zoom in. And if you're headed up to Palm Beach County, Boca Raton, soggy conditions right now. And overnight we had some rain, so some of the roads are slick. You're going to want to give yourself extra time. Parkland, Coral Springs dealing with some shower activity. We're seeing some moderate to heavy rain in spots near Port Everglades, Fort Lauderdale, Plantation, near Lauderdale Lakes, Davie getting slammed, Cooper City as well. And right now you're getting soaked in Hollywood Beach as well as Hallandale Beach, and earlier in Aventura and around Ives Estate, up and down 95 and 595, also seeing some ponding and slick conditions. Winds fairly calm or light. However, we're going to see the stronger onshore winds, and then across the board, we're going to deal with the convergence of plenty of moisture as we have this upper level low that is currently over the Bahamas, and it is tracking towards the west southwest. On the water vapor imagery, the green, that is the moisture that will provide for the fuel for those storms throughout the day today. And there could be some localized flooding because of that convergence. In fact, rainfall totals right now in terms of the forecast models, anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rain for some of you. There could even be some higher amounts for some isolated areas. Waking up to the muggy upper 70s in Broward and Dade County, low 80s down through the Keys. And of course, with the rain, we also enjoy rainbows. Thanks to David Biderman for sending in this shot of a double rainbow. Can you see them? And we have another rainbow photo thanks to our viewer Alma Nefkapir of Cutler Bay. Send those photos to pics@cbsmiami.com. We love pics, and I love to share your photos throughout the weathercast. For today, highs will be in the upper 80s as we will see a mix of clouds and storms with gusty downpours at times. So some of you will be on the dry side while others will have to deal with the wet weather. And tonight we'll see some scattered storms, warm and sticky, 77 degrees the low. And boaters, it'll be bumpy with the storms around, and we'll see the risk of water spouts, seas 2 to 3, a moderate chop on the bays. And as we head into tomorrow, still unsettled, the atmosphere will still be unstable, but not looking as stormy as we head into the weekend. More of our typical rainy season pattern, hot and humid, highs in the low 90s with those afternoon storms. That'll be the deal through early next week.
We're holding you to it, Lisette. Thank you. Well, a special night in Marlins Park last night as first responders from South Florida and New York City were honored for their heroism. The ceremony was hosted by Tunnel to Towers Foundation and, yes, Vanessa Borge. You can see there recognized firefighters, EMTs, and police officers as part of First Responders Appreciation Night. You heard her yell out, "Play ball," right before the first pitch. And on September 13th, Vanessa and main anchor Rick Folbaum will host Fort Lauderdale's Tunnel to Towers 5K run at Huizenga Park. Is that how I say it? I hosted it last year, and I still can, every time I see it, I'm like, it looks, is that how I say it? Did you have fun last night?
I did. I am so happy because everybody kept coming up to me, "Are you throwing the first pitch? Are you going to sing the national anthem?" I was like, believe me, you don't want to see.
Either one would have been great.
You don't want to see or hear that. So luckily, it just had 2 words, play ball, did it, and more than honored.
You knocked it out of the park, my friend.
Thank you.
Vanessa, earlier you had mentioned how important it was to get it exactly at a specific time.
Right, 7:09:30. I had to say play ball, or else the Marlins would be fined by the MLB if we don't start playing at 7:10. I have no idea. Probably a lot more than any of us could afford. Exactly. So I made sure to say it exactly at 7:09. So this morning, if you're heading out, it's going to be a wet one, South Florida. Lisette just warned you about all the rain out there. And take a look at your drive as you're heading on I-95 at Griffin Road. Right before you get to 595, we're getting word from FHP that there is an accident onto the ramp to 595. So drive cautiously out there. You can see plenty of rain if you're heading out in Broward County. Now, Miami-Dade, we have a brand new accident you have to worry about. It's on the Palmetto, 826 eastbound at Red Road or 57th Avenue. You're going to see the shoulder is blocked off by that one. Then if you're heading heading out on I-95 in Miami-Dade County, still talking about this hit and run crash southbound at Miami Gardens Drive. The left lane is blocked off. We're also getting word of some construction on I-95. It's 6:19 in the morning, but still hearing of a construction crew out on I-95 southbound. The express lane's ramp is shut down, so you can't take the express lane southbound on I-95. You won't have to, just take those general purpose lanes instead, guys.
Vanessa, thank you. New details this morning on the third American who has contracted the deadly Ebola virus. Dr. Rick Sacra of Boston is a colleague of the two other Americans who also became infected. And as CBS 4's Susan McGinnis reports, the growing risk of contracting the virus wouldn't keep this missionary away.
51-year-old Boston physician Rick Sacre is in Liberia this morning receiving care, the third American to contract the often deadly Ebola virus. Co-workers at the Family Health Center in Worcester know Sacre as a man who spent decades traveling to Liberia as a medical missionary. When Sacre learned his colleagues, Dr. Kent Brantley and Nancy Wrightball, were infected, he decided to return. He went to deliver babies and wasn't even working in the Ebola wing.
I would say that he is one of the bravest persons and the best Christian that I've ever known.
Sacre's supervisor, Dr. Greg Culley, asked him if he knew what he was getting into.
And he said he did, but he had to go.
Brantley and Wrightball recovered. Wrightball is sharing her ordeal, including the moment her missionary husband broke the news that she had Ebola.
David came towards me to give me a hug and to put his arms around me. And I knew how dangerous that was. And so I said, no, just no. And there were many times when I thought, I don't think I'm going to make it.
But she did, surviving a disease that has killed more than 1,900 people, sickened 3,500 more, and is spreading faster than medical workers can respond. Susan McGinnis, CBS News.
The World Health Organization says at least $600 million is urgently needed for equipment and pay so that more doctors and nurses are willing to risk their lives.
A tragic end to the story of a man bicycling more than 1,000 miles to propose to his girlfriend here in South Florida. Kevin Adorno was completing a bicycle trip from Maryland to Miami when he was stabbed to death. Adorno had planned to meet his girlfriend with an engagement ring, but police say Renee Herrera Cruz stabbed Adorno at a Vero Beach McDonald's. Officers say Cruz told them that he thought Adorno was directing people to go after him.
Like losing one of my own. He was that nice of a kid.
Cruz is being held without bond.
And South Florida fast food workers will be among those in more than 150 cities across the nation expected to walk off the job today seeking higher wages. The strike involves workers from major chains including Burger King, McDonald's, even Wendy's. Supporters and elected officials, including Florida Senator Dwight Bullard, plan to meet them at an event in Miami Gardens this morning. Their demands include raising the hourly wage to $15 and also the right to form a union.
The time now is 6:22 and straight ahead, an explosion rocks the Children's Museum. What went wrong? We'll have that after the break.
And then who owns the ears? Disney is taking a popular DJ to court over the symbol they both say they own. The performer, though, says he is not being bullied. We'll have that coming up in this morning's Pop News.
Plus, too close for comfort. A shark takes a big bite out of a kayak. We'll show you how the people on board managed to get away. You're watching CBS 4 This Morning. We'll be right back.
Good.
Good morning, Walter.
Welcome back. CBS This Morning is coming up at 7 a.m. right here on CBS 4. Charlie Rose is joining us live from the CBS This Morning studio in New York City. Charlie, good morning. What are you guys working on today?
Hey, good morning, Walter. Ahead, Major Garrett is in Wales, where President Obama is meeting with NATO leaders right now. Their debate over how to confront the threat from ISIS, plus arguing over inches at 30,000 feet. Peter Greenberg is in Studio 57 with this growing concern over air rage, why it's only going to get worse. And we'll take you inside the ultra-secure vault that houses the largest collection of Shakespeare in the world, how it ended up 2 blocks from the U.S. Capitol. The news is back in the morning. We'll see you at 7.
That's going to be some vault, Charlie. We look forward to that at the top of the hour, 7 a.m., right here on CBS 4.
And new this morning, more than a dozen people are hurt, including at least 9 children, after an explosion at a museum in downtown Reno. It happened at a smoke tornado machine that was being used as a part of a science experiment. The injuries range from minor to moderate. The victims are all being treated for chemical burns. There is no smoke or fire damage to the building itself, and the incident is now under investigation. 2 kayakers are very lucky this morning after a close call with a great white shark. The women avoided the shark, but their kayak did get a dent, a huge dent. Big bite out of it, actually. Ida Parker and Kristen Orr were on a trip to see seals off of the Massachusetts coast, and they say the shark came out of nowhere from beneath the boat.
That was the scariest part, was being in the water and thinking, is it under us? Is it around us? Is it going to come back? You know, what if I move? When is someone going to get to me? Is anybody going to come save us? Like, we just didn't know anything. And we sat in the water for about 30 minutes, and it was the scariest 30 minutes of my life.
You know, the women, fortunately, were not hurt.
And now to CBS 4 News Consumer Alert. 1 in 4 recalled cars never gets the needed fix because car owners often don't even know about the recall. And now the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, has a new website to help people find out. All you have to do is enter your VIN number, and the NHTSA lists any open recalls for your vehicle. To reach the site, go to safercar.gov, or you can log on to our website, CBSMiami.com, and we'll link you to that site.
And more this morning on a possible data breach targeting Home Depot. Customers are being told to monitor their accounts very closely for any unusual activity. In addition to teaming up with banks and law enforcement, Home Depot has hired 2 security firms to investigate this potential breach. They are working to confirm whether customers' information was hacked. Home Depot says that it will offer free identity protection services to anyone affected by that breach.
It is 6:28 right now in this morning's pop news. Joan Rivers has been moved out of an intensive care unit at a New York City hospital and into a private room. Her daughter Melissa Rivers released that update yesterday, but we are told the star is reportedly still on life support. Rivers says her mother is being kept comfortable. She also thanked the public for their continued support. Joan Rivers stopped breathing during an elective surgery last week on her vocal cords at a Manhattan clinic. George Clooney is set to bring celebrity phone hacking to the big screen. Variety reports the Oscar winner is set to direct Sony Pictures' Hack Attack. It is a movie based on journalist Nick Davies' account of the British phone hacking scandal, so not the most recent one where the nude photos were leaked. Shooting is scheduled to begin next year. Well, Disney is in a big legal fight with DJ and music producer deadmau5 over his famous headgear. Disney says his mouse ears look way too similar to Mickey Mouse. In a statement, deadmau5's attorney said the artist applied to register the so-called mouse head with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office last summer, but Disney just filed an opposition on Tuesday. The attorney says the mouse head is already trademarked in 30 countries across the world, and the musician, quote, will not be bullied by Disney. So far, Disney has not made any comment.
I don't think DJ Deadmau5 is going to get much support from any kids under 12.
Well, maybe not under 12, but maybe over 12 he will. And a lot of people wondering, you know, he's made millions and millions over the last 10 or so years. Why is Disney just now going after him? Why didn't they go after him when he was first starting out and had, you know, no money?
All right, that's a good question.
We'll see what
We're going to have to see what happens. Exactly. But we do know what's happening outside right now. It is quite wet out there. Lisette, how's it looking?
Well, we are still dealing with plenty of rain, guys, especially up in Broward County, now moving into the Keys as well. Here's a live look from our downtown Miami camera. Dark and early, a couple clouds in the mix. That'll be the trend throughout the day today. You can follow me on Twitter at Lisette CBS4. I've been tweeting away about the flooding potential even for today. Here's a live look from our Fort Lauderdale camera. It was quite a light show. We've had some storms overnight. Roads are slick, and throughout the day, storms likely, some strong. Yes, there could be some localized flooding, some more lightning and gusty winds with some of the storms. As we take a closer look in Broward County, we're seeing showers moving out of Parkland and Coral Springs, but now heavy downpours into Lauderdale Lakes, Plantation, Sunrise, Hollywood, Dania Beach, and even in Highlanddale Beach earlier. Now across portions of Tavernier and the Middle Keys, get ready. We're seeing some storms approaching your neighborhood. Winds are calm, light, but later on we are going to see plenty of moisture and also convergence leading to a good chance of storms. Upper 70s in Broward and Dade, low 80s down through the Keys. Bus stop forecast showing highs will be in the upper 80s. Yes, you will need your umbrellas and the rain gear throughout the day today. But what about tomorrow and the weekend? I'll have more on that in the tropics in just a few minutes. Let's get a check of your traffic with Vanessa.
Like she said, South Florida, it is wet out there. Take a look at I-95 northbound approaching the 595 because that's exactly where we have an accident. This is I-95 around Griffin. So all of these taillights heading northbound as they approach 595, tried to jump on eastbound right around Fort Lauderdale International Airport. That's where you're going to see a crash. It's off to the shoulder. We have another accident in Broward County as well, this time on I-95 southbound at Cypress Creek Road. This one also off to the shoulder, so not going to cause any delays for you out on the roadways this morning. 826 drivers told you about this one earlier on the Palmetto. As you're heading eastbound approaching Red Road or 57th Avenue on the exit ramp, you're going to see the shoulder is blocked off as well. This scene cleared up on I-95 southbound at Miami Gardens Drive. No longer have to worry about that hit and run crash. And finally, construction on I-95 you do have to worry about southbound. The express ramp is shut down, so the express lanes are closed this morning. Going to have to opt for those general purpose lanes instead, guys.
All right, thank you, Vanessa. Now to a CBS 4 News exclusive. A deputy now in jail accused of stealing prescription drugs from a dead man. This morning, the victim's fiance is talking only to CBS 4 News. Summer Knowles is joining us live from outside the Broward County Jail with more details. Summer, good morning.
Walter, good morning. Well, that deputy, he is still being held here this morning on a $75,000 bond, and he is facing several charges, including drug trafficking, possession, and grand theft.
There's nothing that he wouldn't have done for anybody. Kind, caring, protective.
Kathy Gibbs remembers the life of her fiance and friend, Billy Martin, describing him as a good man who was working to establish a new life in Florida, but also as a man in a lot of pain.
He had a lot of internal pain, and he couldn't get through it.
The Broward Sheriff's Office says last January, Martin committed suicide on these Pompano Beach train tracks when he was hit by a train. What happened next landed Deputy Eduardo Mesa in jail and left Gibbs and Martin's family devastated. BSO says Mesa stole prescription drugs from Martin and threw his possessions contained in 2 suitcases into a dumpster. Those items, precious to Gibbs and Martin's family, have never been found.
Clearly he didn't have morals, feelings, in my opinion.
BSO says they found pills and a pill bottle belonging to Billy Martin in Mesa's patrol car 6 months after his death. In court Wednesday, Mesa's wife and attorney begged a judge to release the road patrol deputy on bond. Judge John Hurley did agree to lower Mesa's bond as Mesa's lawyer questioned the charges.
I think it's really hard-pressed to prove a corrupt intent when the pill bottle that's sitting in the car 7 months after the offense, or the alleged offense back then, if they intended to do something wrong with it, obviously it wouldn't be in the police car.
But Kathy Gibbs sees this differently. She says Mesa deprived Martin of his dignity.
I'm relieved that he's been arrested, and it's given me a smidge of hope in the justice system that he won't be able to do this to anybody else.
And again, that deputy is being held here on a $75,000 bond. We're told he is expected in court around 10 o'clock to go before a judge to discuss some bond issues. But after that hearing, he is expected to be able to get out on bond. We'll certainly keep you posted. For now, we're live in Fort Lauderdale. Summer Knowles, CBS 4 this morning.
Summer, thanks. Also this morning, a woman is locked up for allegedly exploiting an elderly person she was supposed to be looking after. Police say she took more than $900,000 from the victim and then gambled it away at a casino. Here's CBS 4's Gary Nelson with the story.
There's a warrant for exploitation of an elderly.
Marie Pettit-Louis, police say, may have broke the mold when it comes to elderly exploitation. In this Coral Gate home, she cared for an aging couple, and this temp health care worker continued to care for the wife after the husband died.
The victim trusted her to take care of her, fix her lunch, take her to her doctor's appointments, and on the backside, she was stealing from her.
Louis, investigators say, from 2010 through 2012, persuaded the woman in this house, whose mind was slipping, to routinely transfer thousands of dollars to a Wells Fargo bank in Coral Gables.
She would drive the victim, who had dementia, up to the bank and say, I want to withdraw the money.
After Louise' patient slipped into total dementia, police say she simply forged documents, even called mutual fund companies, making withdrawals, posing as the victim with her personal information. The woman's children noticed suspicious bank transactions after her death, and police tracked a money trail for 2 years, finding Louise had allegedly bilked her of $928,430, well, call it $1 million. And there's more. Police found Louis was a frequent figure here at the Magic City Casino in Miami. In 2012, she was admitted to the High Rollers Club, and boy, was she a high roller. This alleged addict in 2012 alone, casino records show, blew $8 million. Yes, $8 million at the gaming tables, presumably ill-gotten gains.
The money is all gone.
And in a moment of huge bond court irony,
Can you afford an attorney?
No.
this accused thief and high roller said she cannot afford an attorney.
Gary Nelson, CBS 4 This Morning.
Well, investigators say with $8 million worth of gambling going on, they do believe that there are more victims out there.
The Coral Gables clinic operator suspected of selling banned steroids to Major League Baseball players plans to plead guilty in October. Attorneys for Anthony Bosch told a judge yesterday that the case will be resolved with a guilty plea. Bosch pleaded not guilty after he surrendered last month. He has since signed a plea agreement admitting that he sold testosterone to Alex Rodriguez and other players. Bosch faces up to 10 years in prison.
It is 6:37, and a major cell phone carrier will pay millions of dollars for what it did with your personal information.
Also ahead, Spirit Airlines under fire for a controversial campaign. Why some say it was in bad taste. We'll have that next on the Money Watch.
I'm Lisa Petrollo in Northwest Miami-Dade at the Barbecue Rib Shack. It is a taste of the town, takeout, and more. Delicious barbecue is coming your way on CBS 4 News. Let's go inside.
Welcome back at 6:40 this morning on the Money Watch. Why Verizon is set to pay millions of dollars to the FCC. Plus, public outcry pushes two major airlines to reconsider controversial promotions. CBS 4's Jill Wagner is at the New York Stock Exchange with much more. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning, Rhiannon. Malaysia Airlines is renaming its contest called My Ultimate Bucket List. The airline says that name is inappropriate because after those two deadly air disasters this year. Now, the bucket list was supposed to describe activities that people want to do or places that they want to see before they die. The contest still being offered, but it's just being called To-Do List. The Federal Communications Commission has reached a $7.4 million settlement with Verizon. The FCC says the wireless company used personal consumer information for marketing purposes. As part of the settlement, Verizon also has agreed to take significant steps to improve how it protects privacy rights of customers. Rhiannon?
And Jill, Spirit Airlines is based here in South Florida, in Miramar, actually. And they're actually in the news for what some are calling a questionable promotion. What is it?
Yeah, Spirit is under fire for what many consider in bad taste. The airline launched a promotion. It played on that iCloud hacking scandal where celebrity photos, nude celebrity photos were leaked online. Twitter was all abuzz about this. The sales slogan was, "Our Bear Fare was hacked." Spirit, though, says the promotion wasn't meant to be offensive, that the company often ties its ticket sales into national news stories, but I don't know, thinking it may have gone too far this time. Rhiannon?
Yeah, that might be one story you want to stay away from. They say no publicity is bad publicity, but this might be an exception, Jill. Thank you.
All right, we've been looking at quite a bit of rain this morning. Lisette had mentioned that we might even have more over the weekend. Is there any good news?
Well, no, the better news is that as we head into the weekend, the rain chance will go down a little bit. But today, tomorrow, the storm chance is high. It's a tale of two counties, guys, though. Broward County getting the bulk of the action. Miami-Dade County really not seeing a whole lot of wet weather just yet. But yes, today we will see a 50% chance of storms. So keep your umbrellas close by and leave early if you can, especially Broward County. We had slick conditions. Right now, though, an ominous cloudy live look from our downtown Miami camera as the sun is trying to break through the cloud coverage. You can follow me on Twitter at Lisette CBS4. And here's another live look from our Fort Lauderdale camera shot. Still looking very overcast, and that'll be the deal throughout the day today. Storms likely, some strong downpours, localized flooding, lightning, strong gusty winds possible up to 40 to 50 miles per hour. So definitely keep your eye to the sky and your umbrellas close by. Let's zoom on in Broward County. There you see the bulk of the action in Tamarack, Lauderdale Lakes, Village Park, Oakland Park, Lauderdale by the Sea, Sunrise, Plantation. We're seeing this activity push from the south and east to the north and west. Also dealing with some rain around Port Everglades, Fort Lauderdale, Dania Beach, Hollywood. Portions of 95, 595 already drenched. But look at the rest of Miami-Dade County. It's pretty quiet and dry. Not the case for our friends down in Key Largo and across the Middle Keys. I warned you, we do have some storms headed your way. Right now, winds are fairly calm or light, but we're going to be dealing with convergence, which basically will lead to the threat for flooding with stronger winds offshore, courtesy of that upper level low, and weaker winds across the peninsula. And look at all that moisture indicated by the green on the water vapor imagery, and that means the atmosphere will remain juicy and unsettled as we head throughout the day today and tomorrow. We're waking up with the upper 70s in Broward and Dade, low 80s down through the Keys. Snap and share the view from your neighborhood. Send your sunrise photos. We love pics at CBSMiami.com. Thanks to Armando for this gorgeous shot from Key Biscayne. And here's another lovely sunrise from Fort Lauderdale. Thank you, Shane Malarkey. And we are going to talk about this area, this wave off the coast of Africa with the medium potential of tropical cyclone development over the next 5 days. We'll keep an eye on it as it tracks across the western Atlantic. For today, storms likely. Gusty downpours, a high of 89 degrees. Winds out of the southeast 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, scattered storms, 77 degrees. Winds out of the east of 5 to 10. Boaters, winds southeast 10 to 15, seas 2 to 3. A moderate chop on the bays and the risk of water spouts. So here we go. Here's the good news. We're almost to Friday, all right? We are going to be dealing with the chance of some storms tomorrow, but not looking as soggy, a high of 90 degrees. As we head into your Saturday and Sunday, the rain chance will go down. We'll see a mix of sun and storms Typical rainy season pattern. Highs will be in the low 90s. Even as we head into early next week, we will see the rain chance go down. But today and tomorrow remaining unsettled. So again, you're going to want to keep the rain gear handy. Walter, Rhiannon.
All right, Lisa, thank you. At least there's hope for a better weekend.
Yeah, exactly. And just it's the weekend, so
That's
either way,
right? Even if it's rainy, stay home. It's fine. 6:45 is the time, but you have to drive to work this morning, and it's been a wet one for a lot of people.
Yeah, for Broward County specifically, it's been really wet out there, and that means a whole number of accidents, and then including Miami-Dade as well. So we're going to start off in Miami-Dade. Even though it's a dry drive, it's still going to be a busy one out there. Take a look at the Palmetto southbound at Northwest 122nd Street is where you're seeing all those brake lights. And in Miami-Dade County, we have a couple of new crashes you have to worry about. Kendall Drive, so that's Southwest 88th Street as you approach Galloway Road. That's 87th Avenue. That intersection partially blocked off by an accident. Then over on I-95, so the express lanes opened up. They were shut down earlier this morning for construction, but now they opened up the express lanes, and there's an accident on one of the express lanes at Northwest 135th Street. They're clearing it out of the way, but if you're going to jump onto the express lanes, you will see delays in the area. May want to opt for the general purpose lanes. 826 drivers on the Palmetto at Red Road or 57th Avenue. Your shoulder blocked off on the exit ramp. No delays there. Into Broward County, we have an accident on 595 westbound at University Drive. This one is also on the exit ramp. And then finally, I-95 southbound at Cypress Creek Road. Your shoulder blocked off there as well for a crash, guys.
Vanessa, thank you. Okay, here's a question. Ever wonder what happens to all of your missing socks? I know we've all been there. Well, it turns out you might want to check your dog. A Portland area family, that's where they found their missing socks. Inside their Great Dane's stomach, all 43 of them. You can see they were all colors, sizes. The dog likes all kinds of socks. The discovery was made after the 3-year-old Great Dane started vomiting repeatedly, so his owners had to rush him to an animal hospital, and he had to have surgery. The Great Dane made it through the surgery just fine. He is now home and healthy, and now the family has to figure out how to keep the socks away from the dog.
Did you see all those socks? He swallowed them whole. He didn't chew them up. He ate them whole.
Were they clean or dirty, I wonder?
I don't think it matters at this point.
It is 6:47 right now, and straight out on CBS 4 this morning. We hope you're hungry.
Yes, Lisa Petrillo found out what many say is the best barbecue in South Florida in this week's Taste of the Town. Find out what has barbecue lovers coming back for more at the Barbecue Ribs, Chicken, and Jerk Shack.
I'm from Kansas City, so I will be watching. CBS 4 this morning. We'll be right back. Love barbecue.
Welcome back. It is time for another edition of the Taste of the Town. If you're a fan of really good barbecue, served with a plate full, I should say, of homemade side dishes like, creamy mac and cheese and collard greens, then you wouldn't mind ordering this place to go.
Yeah, you are going to love this. CBS 4's Lisa Petrillo is lining up with the rest of the loyal customers at the Barbecue Ribs Chicken and Jerk Shack in Northwest Miami-Dade.
They call it a barbecue lover's paradise, a small, mostly takeout shack serving what many say is the best barbecue in town. We're here at the Barbecue Ribs Chicken and Jerk Shack just off 119th Street and 27th Avenue in Northwest Miami-Dade.
Well, I started off across the street about 6 years ago, and I was able to, get together with a couple of friends, and thank God I built this empire right now.
Yes, an empire that began as a pop-up shop in a strip club parking lot, no less, is now across the street in its own building. The staff is busy around the clock with takeout orders for loyal customers day and night. What are your favorites on that menu right there?
The barbecue chicken, the ribs. Delicious.
So what do you like best about it?
I like the crabs, the ribs. I have to come like every day for the ribs and the cake.
Darcy and his team of creative cooks prepare made-to-order dishes that include everything from the classic barbecue dishes and much more.
Well, we start out with the famous rib that Mr. Darcy came up with, and we included some other old-fashioned items like turkey wings, meatloaf, oxtails, the short beef rib.
Oh, and let's not forget the Barbecue Rib Shack's famous mac and cheese made fresh daily with condensed milk. I heard you got some mean fried crabs as well.
Oh, yeah, we got the idea from a good friend of ours.
We begin our tasting with those fried king crab legs.
Dip them in the butter. See the nice crab meat. Sweet crab meat.
The jerk chicken is spicy and authentic with a secret Jamaican jerk sauce on it. On the side, Shack's popular rice and peas.
So there's coconut milk in the rice, which gives it a Caribbean taste that is delicious and smooth.
And how about those ribs that has everyone lining up?
I can see why. Can you just see this meat fall off the bone?
The famous mac and cheese is served on the side.
Super creamy.
Here's a to-go order, Lisa.
Thank you. I am ready with my meal. Thank you, Darcy. Now, the Barbecue Rib Shack is open 7 days a week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Spot the Gentlemen's Club across the street, and you'll know where you're at with a phenomenal taste of the town. I'm Lisa Petrillo, CBS 4 News. I'm going home.
Looks like she had a little fun there.
Yeah, and took home food for the whole family. It looked delicious.
Maybe she has some out there for us. Probably not.
That would be nice.
All right, and we'll have another check of this morning's top stories coming up.
Stay close. We'll be right back.
It is time now for CBS 4's Top 4 Stories as you're starting off your day.
And last night, the family of Steven Sotloff officially responded for the first time to the barbaric killing. Loved ones are explaining why Sotloff chose a life that led him to constant danger.
CBS 4's Maribel Rodriguez is live outside the family's home in Pinecrest with more details. Maribel.
Good morning. Steven's friend said he would have loved to have lived a tranquil and normal life, but it was his passion for uncovering the world's wrong what drew him to the Middle East. His best friend and family spokesperson, Barak Barafi, said Steven was no hero. He was a mere man who tried to find good concealed in a world of darkness, and if it didn't exist, he tried to create it. He also mentioned Sotloff was no war junkie, but a gentle soul who wished to be a voice for those who had none. Barafi also mentioned at one point he went to the Middle East in hopes of brokering his release. He also mentioned though they are in mourning, they are strong and would not allow enemies to hold them hostage with fear. Rhiannon, Walter.
All right, Maribel, thank you. President Obama and British Prime Minister David Cameron say that they will not be intimidated by the Islamic militants who murdered Steven Sotloff and another American journalist. The leaders have written a joint editorial published in the Times of London ahead of today's start to the NATO summit.
Good morning, I'm Summer Knowles live from the Broward County Jail. This is where a deputy has been arrested and is now being held here on a $75,000 bond. Deputy Eduardo Mesa, he is facing several charges this morning, including drug trafficking, possession, grand theft, tampering with evidence, and falsifying documents. The Broward Sheriff's Office says last January, after a man committed suicide on the train tracks in Pompano Beach and was hit by a train, they say Deputy Mesa stole that man's prescription drugs and then threw his possessions into a dumpster. Now, additionally, BSO says they found pills and a pill bottle belonging to that man in Mesa's patrol car 6 months after he died. Mesa is scheduled to go before a judge later this morning, and after that hearing is expected to be able to get out on bond. We did speak exclusively with his fiance, the victim's fiance, and he says that, or excuse me, she says it was just a complete disrespect that a complete disregard for his life. Reporting live from Fort Lauderdale, Summer Knowles, CBS 4 this morning.
Summer, thanks. Today, the U.S. Department of Justice is expected to announce plans to open an investigation into the practices of the Ferguson Police Department in Missouri. The government will reportedly look into patterns of stops, arrests, use of force, and officer training over the last few years for any evidence of discrimination.
And back here at home, the set's been following the wet weather all morning.
Yes, a cloudy and wet start out there. We're missing the sun in our sunrise shot this morning here from our Fort Lauderdale camera. And we are seeing the chance for storms throughout the day, some strong downpours, localized flooding, lightning, gusty winds possible. Broward County, we've been dealing with most of the action in your area around Coral Springs, getting slammed, Oakland Park, Fort Lauderdale by the Sea, Tamarack, and even through portions of Dania Beach, Hollywood, Davie, Cooper City, and the Middle Keys now getting ready for storms. Not as stormy tomorrow as we head into the weekend, highs in the low 90s and our typical rainy season sea breeze afternoon storms. Let's get a check of your traffic.
It is going to be a slow drive wherever you're heading South Florida. So let's start off in Miami-Dade, Kendall Drive and Galloway. That intersection partially blocked off. We're also getting word on the Turnpike northbound. It's going to be slow from Alapata Road all the way up to Kendall Drive. Slow drive there. 826 eastbound at Red Road. Exit ramp is blocked off on the shoulder. And then Broward, watch out on I-95 northbound at State Road 84. So after you pass 595, the left lane is blocked off.
Okay, be careful out there this morning. That rain could be tricky.
Stick around for CBS This Morning. They're going to talk about road rage and how they believe it's not going away. It's going to get worse.
Have a great day.